everyone, I'm Katie from Reefs Go Live, and I was your underwater educator for the live lesson on how do scientists grow coral. And I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a recap on that lesson and to tell you some of the things that we hope you took away from it, and also to intro you into the next lesson that we're actually getting ready for underwater right now as you at home are watching this. So the lesson on today is going to be Lionfish, a perfect invader. But before we get to that, let's recap on how do scientists grow coral. So the takeaways we hoped you got from that live lesson were: what is a coral? That is the staghorn coral that we're growing in the coral nursery. And the coral, as we all know by now, is an animal that also works in a mutualistic symbiotic relationship with zooxanthellae, the tiny little algae that live inside of those coral polyps, which are able to absorb sunlight and convert it into energy or food for that staghorn coral. At the same time, the staghorn coral gives those zooxanthellae a place to live. So they work really harmoniously together. Now, why do we have a coral nursery across the Caribbean Sea? And it created this really nice framework in the reef for a lot of really important apex predators to live. Groupers, snappers, juvenile species of that sort, juvenile nurse sharks even sometimes. And so the loss of that framework crumbling over time really takes away some of that complex reef framework and makes it harder for those animals to have a proper nursery ground. So it's important that we try to maintain that in the future. Now, another takeaway was, what impact can we scientists and you students at home really have on the coral reef health in the future, and how helpful are these nurseries on the reef? And the answer is, we can only do so much as scientists, but with your help, by minimizing your carbon footprint or helping to be a good environmental steward, then we can all work together to increase the quality of coral reefs and ensure they're going to be around for the future years. By us outplanting those corals in between already natural populations on the reef, we're trying to ensure that they're all going to partake in that once a year annual spawning event that we showed some B-roll footage of during our How Do Scientists Grow Coral Reefs lesson, so that those corals can release their sperm and egg cells, have them all intermix and cross-fertilize, and then settle onto the reef in areas where that coral is not so common anymore. So we're essentially just helping the reef to help themselves for the future. And by you guys refusing single-use plastics, using less energy, and minimizing your carbon footprint, it really is a team effort to make sure these reefs will be around in the future. Last but not least, we wanted to make sure that everyone in the Cayman Islands and even Caribbean-wide knows that there are coral nurseries all over the place. We actually have coral nurseries on all 3 of the Cayman Islands. So if any of you want to get involved as a diver or a snorkeler or just a volunteer, I'm sure that everyone will be willing to have the help and be happy to have it. If you are interested, feel free to send us a message, info@reefresearch.org, or send us a Facebook message, and we'll make sure to contact you with the proper nursery permit holders in your area around the Cayman Islands. Other than that, that's all I have for a recap for you from How Do Scientists Grow Coral Reefs. We're getting ready underwater, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Have a coral nursery, or wire coral.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us once again for Reefs Go Live. My name is Noelle, and I'm a marine scientist here with the Central Caribbean Marine Institute. We've got a really exciting lesson planned for you guys today, and coming to you live from Little Cayman. Before we begin, let's go ahead and meet our team. First, diving with us today, we have our CCMI research scientist, Dr. Ali Candelmo, and for research technician, Drew Bukowski. All right, now that you've met the team, let's check in with them. Hey, Ali, you guys all ready to go down there?
Yeah, we're all set. Let's get started.
Awesome, take it away.
Hi guys, my name is Ali Candelmo. Welcome to our next lesson of Reefs Go Live. Today I'm going to teach you all about the invasive lionfish, why they're such a problem, and what we're doing here. So keep your eyes peeled around the reef and take a look for them. During the day, they like to hide under these coral bommies. I spend a lot of my time hanging upside down, looking for lionfish to see if I can catch them. So I'm going to tell my research assistant, Drew, to go take a look for lionfish. This is how I tell him. You look around for lionfish. And that's the signal for lionfish. So while we get started, he'll see if he can find one for us. Let's head over this way.
Alright, Allie, didn't you want to say hello to some special guests today?
Oh, right. Thank you for reminding me. I want to say hi to my nieces, Samantha and Cassara, over in New Jersey watching with their classes at Atlantic Highlands Elementary in Henry Hudson. Can't wait to have you guys out here next week.
Awesome. So, to begin, let's get started with some background information on lionfish. Lionfish are an invasive species. An invasive species is a plant or animal that has been introduced to a place where it doesn't belong. And this causes really negative effects on the economy and the environment. The lionfish is the worst marine invasion in history. So, Allie, where do lionfish originate from if they aren't meant to be here in the Caribbean?
Lionfish came from the Indo-Pacific region, countries like Malaysia and the Philippines, where they fit into the coral reef ecosystem naturally.
So then how did lionfish get from the Indo-Pacific back to the Caribbean?
Lionfish, they couldn't swim throughout the ocean waters, right? So the reef fish, they must have been brought over here by humans. It's thought that they were brought over by the aquarium trade. They were first introduced to Florida in 1985, and since then they've spread throughout the whole the east coast of the United States, Bermuda, down through the Caribbean, into the Gulf of Mexico, and through Central and South America.
Thanks for answering that question, Allie. So now we know where lionfish came from and how they got there. Can you tell us a little bit more about why there's such a problem?
So, lionfish have a number of physical characteristics that make them a problem. They're really fast-growing, and they're highly tolerant to salinities and temperature changes, unlike other reef fish, which makes them sort of like a super fish. Noelle, you've got a fish up on the boat that we caught yesterday. Can you help point out some of the characteristics as we go around through them?
Yeah, absolutely, Allie. We've got one right here. So guys, make sure you look at your activity sheet and fill it in as we go along. So first, we have the dorsal venomous spines, which you'll see right here. Lionfish have a total of 18 venomous spines, and 13 of them are right here along the top of the fish. These are called the dorsal spines, and this should be the first answer on your activity sheet. Allie, do they use these spines to attack their prey?
No, Noelle, they actually use the spines to protect themselves. They have those red, white, and black markings to warn predators that they are venomous, just like a bee has its black and yellow markings to warn predators. And so, one of the reasons why they have become such a problem is because they don't have natural predators here in the invaded range. And so their populations are able to spread because they don't fit into the natural food chain.
Is there anything we can do to stop them?
What a lot of places have been doing is actually starting these lionfish removal programs. I've got a spear and bucket here that I use on what we call a cull, where we basically go out and catch lionfish and bring them up from the reef, and then they can be used for food. People go out to do it for food, for fun, sometimes for money, ultimately to protect the reef environment. So this is an example of the spear I use and my homemade bucket. And what I'll do is just stretch the band along the spear, point it at the lionfish, shoot it, and then put it in the bucket carefully, which may or may not happen. I might have made my lionfish a little too big. And there he goes, nice and easy in the bucket. So, on Little Cayman, we go out once a week and catch as many lionfish as we can, and then give them to the resorts and restaurants for them to give to the tourists so they can eat them. lionfish are venomous, but they're not poisonous. So you have to cut off the spines, but the flesh is delicious. Have you ever eaten any lionfish? Anyone in the class? Or how about you, Noelle?
Yeah, I have eaten lionfish, and it's delicious, especially in tacos or as a dip. You guys should definitely try some. So, Allie, tell us a little bit about the research that you're doing right here on Little Cayman.
That would be great. Go ahead. So, on Little Cayman, we go out and we track lionfish. And we try to count how many we catch. And we want to know where the most lionfish are. Just like fishermen, we want to bring as many lionfish in as we can at a time. And so, since 2008, the volunteers of Little Cayman have caught over 20,000 lionfish from the reef.
That's great. It kind of sounds like the problem has been solved.
Well, not exactly. There's some concerns that lionfish are actually moving deep along the reef habitat. So, using these deep reef walls, where we can't go, they've found lionfish as deep as 300 meters along the reef wall. So that's where science comes into play. We can use a tag and track lionfish and see where they move and find out how deep they go.
What do you tag the lionfish with?
We have these little things called acoustic tags, which I have here. And these acoustic tags send out a unique signal, so we put them inside the lionfish. And the tag is able to signal out and say that it's this fish. And then on the end of the tag is a pressure sensor that tells you exactly how deep the lionfish is.
That scientific technology is pretty cool.
So
What was that?
Oh, sorry.
No, we actually have one of the tags on the boat. So let's listen to see if we can hear what it sounds like when it's talking to the receiver.
Sure. Yep.
Yes, you guys might have been able to hear it, that little ping ping sound in the background.
Yep, that's it. So there's this thing called a receiver. We place these receivers all around the island. There's 29 of them. And so the tag, Drew and I like to joke that the tag is yelling at the receiver, saying, "Hey, you, it's me, number 79 over there. Can you hear me?" Sometimes if the tags yell at the same time, the receiver can't tell which tag is which. Just like if you guys were in class and you're screaming, "Hey, I want to answer the question!" You know, they can't tell your teacher can't tell you what you said. But then the receiver will pick it up later.
How far away can the receiver hear the tag?
The receiver's sound actually travels really far underwater. If anyone's had the chance to listen to a whale sing underwater, it's a pretty amazing experience. Sometimes it's so loud you can actually feel it in your chest. Whales can talk to each other up to 1,000 miles apart. These tags actually can communicate with the receivers about 500 meters apart, which is pretty amazing. But on our reefs, we have a lot of animals like shrimps and fish. They're super noisy, so our tags have about 150-meter range.
Okay, that's really interesting. So, are you all ready to tag the lionfish, Allie?
It looks like we are all set up. Drew's got the fish ready. I'm going to get my equipment ready and just let our, make sure we're all set and ready to go.
Yeah, sounds good. So as soon as you guys are ready, just let us know.
Okay. So, here we go. I've got this really cool, handy-dandy green $10 pencil case. Oh, caught it. And I've set it up with all my surgical instruments. Let me just tuck that in there. So what I'm going to do is, this is my needle and thread that I'm going to use to stitch the lionfish up after I insert the tag.
So what you guys are watching is Allie is about to start the surgery on this lionfish. So sometimes it takes them a lot to concentrate and be able to get it done well and to get it done pretty quickly so the fish can recover more rapidly.
All right. We're all set, ready to go. Okay, so here we go. So Drew's just going to carefully show me the side of the face so I can see if it's a male or a female. And this looks like we have a female. And the way I can tell is on the side of the face, the females have less of a beard than the males. Sometimes the females also have eggs that are very available, very easy for me to see. Females can lay up to 20 to 40,000 eggs at a time. And that's every 2 to 4 days in little caimans. So that means like 5 million eggs at a time. I'm also taking a measurement of this fish from the tip of its mouth to the end of the tail. This is a 30 centimeter female, which is actually a relatively large female. So now I'm going to go ahead and make a very small incision in the fish. Just big enough for me to be able to fit this acoustic tag inside. And then we're going to slide the tag right in. And then I'm going to put a couple stitches in the fish.
Wow, that's really cool, Allie.
Alright, so there we go. We've got, carefully put the needle through. Sorry, it just takes me a second to think about it, to concentrate. And then we're going to pull the stitching through, do a couple loops, grab the tail of the suture and pull it tight. Quick stitch, pull it tight, and then grab that tail and pull it tight. And then I'm just going to put one more so I can close that incision up really nicely before we put the fish back. And so ultimately the fish is just asleep, so he's not feeling this. And then they should heal within a couple days to a week, we found. So I just carefully put the needle through and then back through the other side. And then we're going to pull the stitch through. I have to be careful. There's actually venom spines in this fin, as well as 3 in the anal fin. So I have to be careful not to poke myself with them. So far, I've been pretty lucky, and I've only got a little nick once. There we go. Grab that tail and pull it through. We've got a little surge down here today, which makes the surgery a little tricky. There's been a lot of obstacles doing it underwater, but it is ultimately better for the fish. Alright, that's it. So I'm going to put a little bit of antibiotic ointment on our suture, and then just shift the tag out of the way, and he's ready to go. So I'll give Drew the signal that we're good. Fish is all tagged. And he's going to put that fish back into the bucket that he removed it from, so it has a chance to rest and relax and wake up before we release it.
Wow, Allie, that looked like a really smooth surgery. You and Drew did an awesome job. So when you get a second, you want to check your air. And as we'll go along, let's talk some more about the characteristics that make lionfish the perfect invader.
Absolutely, Noelle.
So
I'm doing great on air. I've still got 2100.
Oh, awesome. So their mouths look really interesting. Can you tell us how lionfish mouths are adapted?
Oh, sure. So a lionfish has what's called a slingshot jaw. It means it opens its mouth up real wide and can suck prey in super fast. And it basically will eat anything that comes in front of his face. So during the day, you'll see it start to, pick off these smaller fish. The biggest issue is that lionfish are eating a lot of reef herbivores, like juvenile parrotfish. And those are really important for the reefs because they're eating this macroalgae. And so if there's not enough herbivores on the reef to remove that macroalgae, it'll overgrow the coral. You're going to learn all about that with Claire tomorrow in her herbivory talk.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like good news for the reef. So, we've got a couple of questions from students watching. Do you mind if we ask one or two?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so Little Cayman Educational Services wants to know how a lionfish protects itself.
The lionfish protects itself with those venomous spines that Noelle showed you before. So it has these big spines on the top, and what it also tends to do is bring out its pectoral fins to make it look really big. And Noelle can show you those fins on the boat up top, and maybe we'll show you one later too. So it makes itself look big, and it's got those spines to sort of, and this warning coloration to warn the predator that it's venomous.
Okay, hey Allie, I think that Katie on the macro camera has got something pretty cool that we're going to show. So I think she's got a nurse shark over there.
Oh, right. Let's have a look. Sure.
Yeah, so what do you, Allie, do you think that nurse sharks could maybe prey on the lionfish?
We've had some very special encounters with a nurse shark, and I'm actually taking a look here to see if it is our Mr. Herb, and I do believe it is, and I can tell that it's Herb by a shape in his dorsal fin. So this particular nurse shark has been following us around for the past year. And he's often present when we do lionfish activities. Sometimes he chases the lionfish around, but he does seem to be pretty docile when we do the surgery. So one of the really cool things that we found out is that our lionfish that we've been tagging have actually been getting preyed upon by something on the reef. And so we're actually seeing the tags disappear, and it looks like they're predators because you can watch the tracks, and they're now in the belly of something different. They're no longer a lionfish. So that's really exciting news. There he is. Hey, Herb. He came out. So this is really exciting news for the reef. That means that the natural predators are starting to do their jobs and helping to maintain the lionfish population. You may have noticed, I'll tell you now about it, that cage in the background. The reason we set that up is that we don't want our lionfish to get eaten immediately after we've tagged them. We want to give them a chance to kind of do their lionfish thing. So once we tag them, we do put them back in the cage until they're ready to be released. And then if they get eaten later, that's great. And and that really stresses the importance of protecting these native predators. Because while us humans can take as many lionfish as we can off the reef, we really need them to start balancing the whole food chain and ecosystem.
Yeah, thanks, Allie. That's really interesting, and I'm glad that Herb came to say hello.
Yeah, he's coming to check out our stuff now. You see him looking down at my surgery kit? You can tell he's not really scared of us, but he's also not threatening. He'll just lay there. It's very docile, but I still think he's very capable of eating these lionfish. They have really strong jaws and a powerful suction mouth, so they can suck like whole conch out of their shell. And actually, Noelle, if you want to, you could show them the lionfish that we have on the boat that has a bite mark out of the top of it. I caught that lionfish yesterday. Herb was actually with us last night while we caught the lionfish, and then I found a lionfish on the top of the reef that was bleeding from the top. So that means something attacked it before I speared it and brought it up. So that's pretty cool.
That is really cool, Allie. So it sounds like when we get together and have human power taking lionfish off the reef, but also the natural predators adapting to eat it, that maybe we can somehow manage this invasive species, which would be good news for the reef.
Probably. Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, we can go out there and take as many as we can off there, but if they become a food source for the predators, even better.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Allie. So maybe let's get back to some of the rest of the lesson, if you don't mind.
Sure, and we'll just keep... It actually looks like Herb went back to sleep, so... And that's the funny thing, he just lays with us. I think he just enjoys our presence.
Okay, so Allie, do you know if lionfish smell their prey, or do they use their eyes?
Lionfish are actually very visual predators. You can see them really watching fish. It kind of almost looks like they're picking their target. So in the evenings, they do have these big eyes so they can see in low light and even in the dark. And so you'll see them picking off these fairy basslets, the blue chromuses that we see over here, Creole wrasses that are all up in the water column over there. You'll find all of these reef fish in the stomach of a lionfish. And then during the day, when they tuck under those dark ledges, they'll pick off the nocturnal animals like the red night shrimp and juvenile squirrelfish that are down there under those ledges with them. And so, yeah, they really do seem to use their eyes. When I'm approaching a lionfish to catch it, I try not to stare it in the eyes, because it does seem to make it nervous. Just like if I were to stare you in the eyes, that might start to freak you out, right? So I do think they use those eyes quite a bit.
Yeah, I've noticed that sometimes lionfish can sense you approaching without even being able to see you. So like other fish, lionfish will use a lateral line to detect movement in the water. And this lateral line is a special organ here that runs along the side of the body, and it detects changes in water pressure so that they can sense water currents around them. So don't forget to look at your worksheet and mark lateral line on your activity sheet in class.
That's right, Noelle. Lionfish do seem to be able to sense you kind of coming up from behind them, especially if you move too fast. So I always try to approach a lionfish head first and slowly, so it doesn't swim away really quickly. Sometimes it'll turn towards you and kind of spread out its big pectoral fins, again, to make it look real big and defensive.
Yeah, interesting. I'll have to try that next time. So here is the pectoral fin, and this fin doesn't have venomous spines in it, but it is used for defense, and they can also use it to ambush their prey against the reef. Man, it's too bad there aren't any lionfish down there so that we can watch them move around.
Yeah, actually, Drew and the rest of the crew have been looking around, and it's really great for the reef. We did look earlier today, too, and we didn't find any lionfish, which is good news, and that means we're doing our jobs, and other predators, maybe like Herb, are doing their jobs and keeping the lionfish populations low. But we do have a lionfish that we tagged earlier this morning that is ready to be released. Would you guys like to watch us release that fish?
Yeah, Allie, I think that everybody would really enjoy that.
Okay, great. Let me let Drew know that he's going to go ahead and release it. And we can watch him swim away. I'll just point out some of the characteristics as we see it move. So let me go take a quick look. And here we go. So the fish is in this bucket. Again, he's been resting now for a couple hours, so he should be okay. And, alright. I'm going to give Drew the signal. When he looks, here we go, Drew. Yep. Sometimes, looks like that bucket lid is stuck on nice and tight, which is a good thing for the lionfish. Here he is. And this is a male lionfish. Now you can see him. See his pectoral fins spread way out big. He's like, hey, I'm big. I've got my red and white bars. I'm venomous. Don't mess with me. Alright? you see he's using his tail fin to swim. Lionfish use their tails to swim. He's pretty calm. They don't usually move that fast, but if he wanted to, he could tuck those pectoral fins in real tight and swim away pretty quickly.
Yeah, if we get close enough, you can even sometimes see the gills moving in and out. And they've got gills that are protected by their operculum, which is this right over here. It covers their gills to keep them safe. And the gills are kind of like feathers so that they can efficiently get oxygen from the water. This should be the last label on your activity sheet.
That's right. Yeah, so he's moving his gills in and out. He's actually pretty calm. You can tell, again, even though we did the surgery, he's been in that container, just kind of calmly finding a place to hide and tuck away for the day.
Yeah, so we talked about how lionfish sometimes don't necessarily swim very fast, right?
That's right. Yeah, they don't have a forked tail and a strong body like a tuna that can really race through the water. But if he wants to, he can tuck and run pretty quickly to get away from me or maybe another predator. But they are generally pretty relaxed.
Yeah, and that's different from other fish like, say, parrotfish or wrasses. They use their pectoral fins to swim around in the water. So maybe if we see any of those down there, we can look at them.
Yeah, we've got a parrotfish actually cruising by over there. I'm not sure if anyone can catch it. And so you'll see them flapping their pectoral fins. And there's another stoplight up in the water column there. You'll see more of those tomorrow. So yeah, they kind of do that funny side pectoral fin versus the nice cruise of the tail on the lionfish.
Right. Well, that was really amazing to watch, Allie. It was cool to see him swim away like that. So now that the lionfish has been released, what do you do next?
So basically, we'll keep a diver with him for a while. So I'm going to stay with him and see what happens to him, as much as my cables will allow me. And make sure he's swimming okay and looks healthy. So this fish looks really great. He's really moving around well, trying to find a place to tuck in for the day. And we'll also make sure no predator picks them off right away. That's the ultimate goal, to let them be able to get out on the reef. Like I said, we have been seeing our lionfish get picked off by predators, which is really exciting, but we don't want it to happen right away. So after that, we leave him out here to do his lionfish thing. So he's going to swim around for the next 6 months, and the receivers that we put out on the reef will pick up all of that data, and we'll download the data once a month and see what each lionfish has been up to.
So, what has your scientific study found? Are lionfish going deep or moving along the reef?
So what we've been seeing is that lionfish do tend to stay in one spot for one site for the most part, but they are moving deep and shallow up and down the reef pretty regularly. So some of our lionfish have gone as deep as 100 meters a couple times, and then for the most part, most of them will travel between 20 to 30 meters in a day on a regular basis. So this is pretty exciting. What we can find out is, when are they the shallowest? So when are they the easiest to catch? So as we start looking through the data, is it certain times a day, certain times a year where we can really get access to them?
Awesome. That's really cool, Allie. So, do you have time to take a couple more questions?
Yeah, I've got lots of time and lots of air left.
Cool. Okay, so first question I want to ask. If a tagged lionfish is eaten, does the tag always get destroyed? Or do its predators swim far away from the recording devices?
That's an excellent question. And that's something we've been asking ourselves too, because there's been some tags that we can actually track in the predator, and then there's other tags that seem to just disappear out of nowhere. So, the short and the long of that is, some of the tags go right into the predator's stomach. So say a nurse shark or another animal were to eat the lionfish, it's almost like they ate the whole thing whole, and then it's slowly digested. So then we start to actually track the predator on our receiver array. And we have a receiver spread all around Little Cayman, so it's able to pick up that predator. So we have watched predators go back and forth on the north coast, but we've also watched a tag go around the island 3 times. So that was probably in a bigger predator, like maybe a reef shark or even a tiger shark, because a smaller predator would have, one, probably pooped that tag out a lot earlier, and two, is not really moving that much, that quickly.
Cool, thanks for answering that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I think I missed a part. Some of the tags do seem to get damaged. So we've had one tag that looked like it got eaten, but then the pressure sensor didn't work anymore. And other tags that seem like maybe the fish just got killed during the predation event, but didn't get completely consumed. And so the tag was just left on the reef.
Got you. Thanks, Allie. So, next question is from Little Cayman Educational Services. Do lionfish live in groups?
They don't necessarily live in groups, but you do often see them aggregating together under one coral structure. So you'll look at under that rock, all of these places that seem like those are perfectly great habitats for lionfish, and you won't see any, and then you'll tend to find 5 under the same ledge. So they definitely have some sort of aggregating social behavior, whether that is for spawning later in the evening, or just they prefer that one ledge, there's more food there, and they kind of shift around together. I'm not sure.
Got you. Okay. So we'll take a couple more questions. Jude from St. Ignatius. We talked about this a little bit, but maybe we can touch on it again. So Jude wants to know why lionfish were brought to Florida.
Lionfish were brought to many places for the aquarium trade. They're a really beautiful fish with all those gorgeous fins and beautiful coloration. They're pretty amazing to watch. I mean, even though I am trying to help manage the population, I love a dive when I can just go out and actually just watch them behave, because they're really incredible. However, they are, as I said, big predators. So when you catch them in a tank, they eat everything. So sometimes people would come down and they had eaten all of the fish in the tank that were supposed to be in the aquarium, or the person that buys them has to buy a bunch of live fish to feed them to keep them alive. So they believe that some people release them intentionally, not wanting to kill them, but not wanting to keep them. And that's most likely how they got introduced.
Awesome. Thanks, Allie. Next question. Felix wants to know, what happens if you get stung by a lionfish?
If you get stung by a lionfish, it does hurt. I'll tell you, it's the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, but it won't kill you. So, I have been stung a couple times, mostly just due to potentially being a little careless, because I've handled them so often. So you always have to be careful. And when you get stung, you do want to try to squeeze where the part where you get stung, because you get a venom basically injected in you. So it's best to try to maybe bleed that out a bit. And then as soon as you can, get your hand or whatever it is in hot water, because that helps deactivate the venom, because it's protein based. And that'll actually help the pain as well. And so you should see a doctor. But what will likely happen is that the area that gets stung will swell, and it'll be quite painful for a little while. And then it'll go away. You might have a picture of my hand. I think Tom may have found that.
Yeah, we did. We were able to show that, and you can see how swollen your hand got.
Yeah, it
looks
was
pretty
I
painful.
mean, you can see I have a relatively normal sized hand usually. It really ballooned up good. But nothing a couple days of relaxation won't fix.
Yeah, it doesn't sound pleasant at all. So we're going to take 2 more questions, Allie. what temperature does lionfish like to live at?
Lionfish do seem to be thriving in this sort of Caribbean temperature. Oh, we've got Herb is coming over for a visit again, so maybe he'll come say hello before we leave. But they can tolerate more extreme temperatures than other reef fish. So we're talking here, they seem to be real happy in this sort of 27 to 30 degree Celsius range. But they're being found all the way up to Massachusetts in the summer months, so they can definitely tolerate colder and warmer environments.
Gotcha. Thanks, Allie. And just one more time, we talked about this with Herb and with a couple other things, but we have two people that asked what predators eat lionfish, so maybe we can just wrap that up one more time.
Sure. So that's kind of the big question right now, right? There's other areas that are finding that lion populations are declining despite or without human interactions, so the populations are going down. And it is suspected that native predators hopefully are the cause of that. And so there's a lot of predators out on our reefs that could be eating lionfish. Our large Nassau grouper, big mutton snappers, different types of sharks, nurse sharks, reef sharks, and eels have all been sort of suspected predators. In their native range, it's sort of the same. These larger fish are probably the ones that'll prey upon them. But also that ecosystem is just sort of overly balanced, and so they're just kind of all competing with each other and keeping their populations at bay.
Gotcha. Thanks for that, Allie. So that's all the questions we have for now. Do you have any last words you want to say before we log off for the day?
No, I just want to say thank you all for joining me on this exciting lesson, lionfish lesson. I'm glad that Herb came and showed his face. I'm kind of hoping that he would be here since he's with us so often, so I'm glad you guys got a chance to see him as well. I'd like to thank the European Commission, BEST 2.0 program, and Guy Harvey Foundation for funding our lionfish research. It's been an amazing experience for us. I'd also like to put a special thanks out to Tom Spark for creating Reefs Go Live, because he gave me the opportunity to share this crazy world of lionfish research with you guys. So I'm really excited to be able to do that. I hope you guys have learned a lot, and you can take away this lesson with you and teach it. Tell some of your family members or your friends, because you guys know, and we keep telling you, the oceans and the coral reefs are in your hands, and so anything that you can do to help out will make it all better. One thing, as far as lionfish, to help reduce their populations, you guys can eat them. Because like we said, they're delicious. So if you go to a restaurant, see if they have lionfish on the menu. If they don't, maybe ask them to try to get it on the menu next time. And so every little bit counts. So thanks again for joining us and being our dive buddies for the day. It was really exciting to be here, and I hope you had some fun.
All right, thanks, Allie. We'll see you topside in a bit.
Okay, thanks.
All right. All right, now, so for you students, I think we answered all of the questions that had come in so far, but if you have any more, be sure to send those in right now before we log off, and Allie will answer them, and we'll get those back to you sometime this week. So again, we hope that you learned some really important lessons about lionfish, and maybe you got inspired to go out and try some later on. But again, before we log off, I just want to say thank you from the whole Reefs Go Live team. We always have a good time out here with you guys, and we hope that you learned a lot. So remember to join us tomorrow for our next episode of Reefs Go Live, when Claire will be talking to us about herbivores.
All right, thanks guys.
All right, thanks again guys, and we'll see you underwater again soon. Alright guys, you can wrap it up.
Okay, I guess we'll bring this stuff up.